Twice, 2 weeks in creative endeavour, gathers people making positive dents on society and shares their stories, learns and journeys to now. I'm your host, David Binstead. At the end of a second year of independent digital radio, this episode 65 part 1 features and celebrates my amazing 2017 co-hosts. Jennifer O'Sullivan, Caitlin McKay and Rebecca Stewart chat about their creative endeavours, reflect on podcast co-hosting and look ahead to the bright, shiny new year upcoming. My fourth co-host, Jack Chapman, features one-on-one towards the end of part 2, which publishes around 30th December. Just a quick PSA, this episode's a little more free-flowing and a little less structured than usual, but I really think you'll enjoy it. Normal service resumes with 2018 shows landing from mid-January. Just wanted to hang out and, if I remember to get them out of the bag, thank you amazing people a little bit later with some tiny little gifts to celebrate the season, which I haven't wrapped yet.
You don't need to, save the paper.
Excellent. But one of the questions I wanted to ask all of us, in effect, was how the heck has your year been? And maybe with you, Jen, you know, Masters of Creative Practice.
Oh, yeah.
Improv Festival Director and about a million other things. How's it been for you? It's
been pretty intense. I had a really... It's a thing where in the first 2 months of the year, I did a whole bunch of crazy things, including What's Your Jam, which you came on, and then I stuffed up and lost the episode. And I still feel really sad about that. But, you know, I did like all these fringe projects and all this stuff. And then I just got straight into studying. And like, it's been such a journey since then. And I've done 5 of my 6 courses, all A's, BT dubs. I feel very good about that. Mostly I just get to like call my mum and go, Mum, I got another A.
Mums love that shit.
It's fine. It's fine. This is a viable thing.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's
fine. It's fine. So school's been really good. Improv festival happened and we had people coming from like all around the world in New Zealand doing amazing improv, which was really great. I've already got a bunch of plans for doing shows early next year, but I'm trying really hard not to make any plans afterwards. Touch wood, I managed to do that. But yeah, I think I'm almost at the point where I'm going to sit down and do my thing where I go, what did I do in January? What did I do in February? And try to actually like write a personal review. I did it a few years ago, a couple of times, just going like, what did I do in January? What did I do in February? What did I do in March? To remind myself, because if you don't sort of stop and think about what you did, sometimes you just have no idea. And you forget all the cool stuff you did, or you forget like, you know, you forget any lessons that you learned from the things you were doing, and it's just really nice to stop and go, oh yeah.
Such a nice idea. I always
really
forget
nice
stuff I've done.
Yeah.
And then I guess, does that help with the whole, man, the year's gone so fast, which is what everyone says.
I think so. I think it does. And I like to go, because I put pretty much everything into my Google Calendar. So that's a nice way of going back and going, what was I actually doing in January? Oh, wow. Well, like, oh my God, that happened this year? Holy shit. That sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to that thing, I think. I'm planning to wrap my year up by like next Friday. So then I will be on holiday and then I will be doing things like all this sort of personal reflection.
Oh, lovely.
Very cool idea.
Exciting.
And how about Rebecca Stewart, New Zealand's food organiser?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, this has been my first year of running Pomegranate Kitchen, so it really has felt like it's gone really quickly. I mean, I've just been trying to think, you know, as you're talking about what I can say apart from work, but there hasn't been that much apart from work. So, yeah, so I mean, we launched in October last year, and this year I guess we moved into a new kitchen. We employed some new cooks. I did a TED talk, which was
amazing.
Like, oh, thank you. I actually
Which one were you at?
TEDxWellington.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've loved your pants from that, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I remember thinking they're really good pants.
The funny thing is that usually they say, so I had my hand in my pocket the whole time, and usually they say not to do that, but because I was so nervous, we kind of came up with this thing where that was kind of my power pose. Like when I had my hand in my pocket, I felt much more casual, and then my like anxiety came down. And so DK and Saab, even though they would usually, you know, there's all these certain things you're supposed to do to be more engaging, they were like, yep, that's actually something that you should do. So yeah, that was like one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. It was really intense, and I still actually haven't watched it either. So.
Is it online?
Yeah.
I'm totally gonna look it up.
Are you going to? Are you?
Like eventually, I just couldn't. After it happened, I just couldn't do it because I knew that I would A, be really super critical, and B, that it would just bring me back to that time. So the morning before the TED Talk, we also moved kitchen. So it was just like an intense and crazy time for Pomegranate Kitchen anyway. And then there was just massive, anxiety around it, because when I signed up for it, I was like, oh yeah, this will cure my thing where I'm terrified of public speaking. Because I'll just have to do it. And then 10 days out, I was like, oh no, I'm still the same person, and now I have to talk in front of 1,000 people. Like, nothing's changed. It was a real moment. But now everything's way easier. Like, it's true what they say. Like, I mean, I just don't even. I'm still not perfect at public speaking, but just nothing really phases me anymore. Because like once you've done that, it's just like.
Yeah, you're
how many
it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt.
Exactly.
It was stressful, but it didn't hurt you.
Yeah, no one died.
People came up to you and said that was really great. I'm assuming.
Yeah, they did.
That's
People
so
loved
good.
it. It was not like the best one, but that's okay. It was the best one that I've ever done. So
that's probably more important then.
Yeah, so that was rad.
That's so awesome.
I guess, and I mean, I was recently nominated for Wellingtonian of the Year, so I've got the award ceremony. This is all this crazy stuff that like has happened in the last year that
so cool.
And especially because like you got to understand that. I mean, so 2 years ago I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so actually 2 years I finished so probably 2.5 years ago, and so in 2015 I was like lying in my bed, and I'd had to like give up my career and my whole life and come back to New Zealand. I had no hair, I had this like cut up boob, and I just was like the lowest that I have ever been, and I just had nothing in my future, and so it's just like so crazy to think that this is where it is now. It just feels really surreal every day that all of this stuff is happening, and it has felt like it's happened really, really quickly, but I guess there's been a lot of really hard work that's gone into it as well from me and everyone else around me. So yeah, it's been an insane year, basically.
That's amazing. I'm definitely going to look up your TED Talk now.
Yeah, me too. So yes, I will watch it one day. Yeah, so I didn't afterwards, and then after that I just kind of forgot about it. So I keep remembering it, but then it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel too nervous to watch it now.
What do they say about accountability? When are you going to watch it by? When are you going to commit?
Maybe I'll watch it by the end of the year, and then I still would have watched it within the year that I did it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe,
that gives me 3
definitely.
weeks. I'm definitely going to watch it by the end of the year. Good work. Yeah, I would have just let that slide. I would have just not done it. Now I have to.
Oh, great. And how about you, Caitlin? How's your year been going?
Yeah, really good actually. Work-wise, for BizDojo, it's been a very crazy year of new sites. So I was quite lucky to be in charge of kind of the soft site launches of our new sites. So we're obviously moving in Wellington to the old Zero building.
So exciting.
I still can't picture it. Like when I go there, I'm trying to like close my eyes and I'm like, how's this going to be? But yeah, that site's pretty gnarly down there. We're opening up a new site in Ponsonby. Not being from Auckland or knowing much about Ponsonby, I was like, I don't know if that's a big deal or not. And then when I went there, I was like, we're like in the middle of everything. And then in Christchurch, we're also opening up a new site next to our old one, which is pretty cool. So that was really fun doing those events. I had to work on my construction man lingo, had to go down and like try to tell a whole lot of really hardcore construction workers that I wanted to throw a big party in their like hazard-filled space. And they were like, I feel like there's a lot of hazards.
It's all right, I'll fill out a hazard form and then everything will be fine.
I did, and I had to wear hard hats and like size 14 boots.
At the party?
No, to go down and kind of scope it out. I really regretted wearing this massive kind of koto dress that I had to hitch up to like clomp around. Yeah. So that was probably one of the highlights of my work life this year. And then Collider has also been a pretty crazy year as well. It's actually been quite cool. At the end of the year, you do your big roundup of the year that was and seeing how things went, and then we do a call out for all the feedback from anyone who attended any of our events, and that's really nice. Like, even though the stuff isn't for me, like getting the feedback back, I get to read it and I'm like, nice.
I love a good feedback form. It's so nice.
We're like, we did that. I had nothing to do with it. I did not teach them that thing.
Awesome.
So yeah, no, it's been really good.
Oh, no, great. It sounds like everyone's had quite a good year.
Sounds like it. How about you? What's your year been like?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah, of course I am.
I've had a really, really amazing, epic, challenging, perhaps most difficult year of my life. And also one of the most rewarding. This is just an acknowledgement that turned up in Wellington like this time last year. Just literally the second person I spoke to in town was Nick Shearing. However it's happened, I'm just so hugely grateful for his and BizDojo's support to be able to be developing this weird project, which is like a thing. You know how it is, Jen, with like What's My Jam and all the other millions of projects that you develop.
There's quite a few.
Especially when people go, when maybe you're starting a project and you're like, I believe in this, I can see the benefit, and nobody else can see it. And you're kind of going, I'm still going to deliver this.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge admiration for anybody like delivering a festival or catering or like millions of amazingly written emails, for example.
That is an important skill. Like,
but that aren't annoying, that actually are quite a good read. But like, what has amazed me this year is the genuine privilege of sitting down with people and just listening to a bit about their story, and also taking that as a responsibility to go, what are the questions that we can get to the heart of what drives them? And it's just like, it's that constant iteration of, I could have probably done that a bit better, so we're going to ask the question that way next time. And like with the three of you on board plus Jack, it's just been this fantastic opportunity to say, let's look at a few areas we can focus on to improve in terms of gender equity. I am so happy that the three of you here are women. Like,
so are we. It's nice. It's a good time.
So I want to make sure that we give a perspective which is like completely different. There's a heap of things I know we can work on with next year, but that's kind of next year, and oh my God, I want to think about it yet.
All right, you've got the summer first, and then you can think about it.
Yeah. Another highlight, a holiday. Came back from the World Forum. I was like, I'm so overdue a holiday. It's like giving yourself permission to have a holiday, and it's just like good learns.
It's like recognizing as well that like a holiday or a break is really necessary for the rest of your work to be any good.
Absolutely.
So if you don't stop and breathe and do the reflection thing, then you don't know what you've already done, and you don't know how you feel when you're not under stress and all that sort of stuff. It's just so good to like just go,
yeah. It's part of the work. That's like, yeah, it's been a real learning for me this year.
There's a reason we have weekends. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a pretty amazing year all round. What I do want to ask about though is your year in podcasting, Jen.
My year in podcasting.
Yeah,
quite a few.
3 episodes for Twice Podcast, as well as many others and many other audio projects, I'm sure.
What have I done in podcasting this year? I've done this show.
Yeah.
Guest hosting. I did my 21/23 episodes of What's Your Jam. 23 recorded, 21 published. I've gone and performed on The Nerd Degree, which is another, have I told you about that one? Yeah. Nerd Degree, another podcast. It's a Christchurch podcast that's like a comedy panel show. Some good friends of mine run it. It's just basically they pick a topic, 2 teams of 2 improvisers / nerds duke it out in a hilarious way. I also was on the Spacey Space briefly, which I believe no longer runs because it is a show that was about Kevin Spacey's body of work, and they did it was just basically they were like, we love Kevin Spacey as an actor, we're going to go through his IMDb page, and they just watched everything that he'd been in, every credit he had, they watched it, and then they would discuss it, and then they got up to doing like a live episode, and right as they were doing the live episode, all the stuff about him came out, and they were like, okay, we've got this thing that we have to do, but then we're done. And they were like, we're done, we're stopping, which I think is incredibly like it's a struggle if you've like put that much work into something, and then for someone else to let you down in that way and then go, cool, all right, we're going to do something else because we don't actually want to condone or support or even like jokingly support what's gone on. Yeah, I feel like there was I was also in Enter Z on Film. There was another podcast I guested on, which is one where short seasons of these guys, Raj and Andy, talk about New Zealand films. And they did a whole season of Cliff Curtis movies. And we talked about, Cliff Curtis film. And I cannot remember the name of it, but I really rocked my English degree in my close reading analysis with that one. It was really great. Picked up some sweet metaphors. But yeah, I've done a lot of podcasting. I really enjoy it. I think podcasting is fascinating. Like, there's an amazing podcast. Who here's a Harry Potter fan? Anybody?
Me.
Yes.
Again, I only discovered it at the age of like 29. I'm
All
just
good.
late on stuff.
All
yeah,
good.
I do like it though.
There's a podcast called Witch Please, which you might be interested in. It's these two women, Hannah McGregor and Marcel Cosman I'm just going to talk about this, sorry, in Canada, and they're academics and they love Harry Potter, and they made this podcast where they do close reading of all the books and the movies. So they read a book, they talk about it. They watch a movie, they talk about it. And then the second season they dealt with all this paratextual sort of material. So like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and like going to see The Cursed Child and all this other stuff, a very Potter musical. But they started sort of recognizing that the work they were doing was actually academic dialogue, but in podcast form. And so they're like really getting into that sort of idea of podcasting as academic research and rigor, and with the same rigor behind it. I'm trying to work out how you peer review something like that. And I'm really interested in that as a medium, because just sitting and talking is so much easier than writing an essay.
Well, and especially because a lot of academic text isn't very accessible and does kind of sit on a shelf, and there's always that struggle. I mean, I don't know about the arts, but especially in the sciences, for example, of going, okay, all of this great stuff is happening. The public doesn't know about it, or if they do, they think that it's something different than what it is.
Because
How
the
do you
media picks up
bridge
like a
those
line
things?
and then
exactly
blasts it out in a terrible way. This is why there's a whole like industry of science communication, right? Like, because that's such an important job.
That's it.
But yeah, like imagine like a podcast about science, where two scientists sit down and talk about the actual, what the things that came out this week actually mean. What are the implications of this?
There probably are.
There are probably heaps of them. There's probably heaps of them. But just imagine.
But what you're talking about is something, another step, isn't it? Where it's like, it's not that science comms, it's like the actual academic text is the podcast, which is really fascinating.
The discussion that's held, and recorded and distributed becomes a body of work. So yeah, I'm super.
Do you think maybe
interested in
one
that.
day people could submit their thesis via podcast?
Oh my God, I hope so. That'd be amazing. I would so do that.
So if Twice Podcast was going to be an academic text, then what would the subject be, do you think?
Beer.
I think, totally on with that one. Yeah, no doubt.
The relationship between beer and non-beer drinkers. Perceptions and taste.
Quick review. You were on 3 episodes this year.
Yes.
Marianne and Murdoch. Remember chatting about human rights and doing our bit, doubling the quota.
I thought you said Mariana Murdoch, and I was like, I don't know who that is, but you meant 2 different people. Carry on.
And then your friend Jo Randerson, and also Heather from Bats Theatre, which was a fantastic episode. And then also Vic and Leon, Ta'oaha and Wgtn Wellington. But you had to shoot off after pretty much just the warm-up. So
all really fun episodes. Yeah.
If you had to pick a favourite or a favourite moment a favourite guest.
I wouldn't be able to pick a moment. I'm so sorry. I've had so many things go on this year. I cannot imagine all the things. But I really enjoyed Marianne. I always love what Marianne has to say. Marianne Elliott is... I met her when she did a TED talk, because she did TEDxWellington, and I was emceeing it with a friend of mine. And so we got to like meet all the speakers and stuff. And then we just ended up seeing each other more and more regularly. And she's fascinating. Like, she's just...
she's a powerhouse.
She's a powerhouse, and she just does these amazing things like Action Station and running a taco joint. And I'm like, what a combination. And just
she's
amazing.
A beautiful speaker, and she's so like kind of inspired about what she does.
She's just honest. Like, you don't ever think that she's pretending.
That's true.
Point.
There's a real authenticity there.
Yeah, that's the word I mean. Authentic. Very authentic, very wonderful human. Yeah, I mean, everybody else is also a wonderful human if you're listening. But it's Marianne Elliott. Deal with it.
Caitlin,
how was your podcasting year?
It was exciting. It was my first year of podcasting. Excuse my voice. So first year of being on a podcast, but also of listening to podcasts. I know.
What did you get into?
Okay, don't judge me.
I will judge you, but it will be really positive, I promise.
It's not academic. There's a really, no, it's not interesting, hilarious podcast called My Dad Wrote a Porno.
I haven't listened to it, but I've heard so many
I've
good
heard
things.
a lot about it as well. I tried to get into it, but it was too. I found like it was too mean. Like they were laughing, and it was too mean about this guy and his lovely writing about porn.
Their dad.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't resonate. But some of my friends love the shit out of it. And did they just come here recently?
Yeah, they did.
Live?
I think they went to Auckland
Yeah.
to do live readings of it. Yeah, I didn't get into it in a huge way, but I definitely listened to a first few of the first ones. And for anyone who doesn't know what it is, essentially some kids, although they're adults, realise that their father has written a porno because he pretty much came across like Mills and Boone or something and was just like, this seems really easy, I'm sure I could write one, and he did, and they found it, and the podcast is essentially just them reading the porno, and it's so bad.
So bad it's good, though.
So bad it's good.
Yeah.
Burn everything you've ever written.
Especially if it's a porno.
You'd think that would be obvious, right? Lock your porno away. Does the dad know about it? Like, surely?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, good.
definitely. He's definitely in on it.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
And then that makes you wonder maybe whether he's written some knowing that it's going to come
Yeah.
out. Some of it is quite outrageous that you're not quite sure.
Yeah, right.
It's more his describing words for body parts that he just struggles with that I enjoy.
Because they're English as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
So there is that whole kind of funny thing. Yeah.
Are they northern or something? I didn't
I'm
like
not
northern
sure.
North English. Someone I know was like doing the accent. There's no way I can do it. I can't do any like British accents. I can do like what do you call it? Like RP. I can do BBC English. That's about
nice.
it.
Do you want to give us your best BBC?
Now under pressure. No. This is the BBC.
What's an RP?
Received pronunciation. I have a linguistics degree. I never use it. It's the language. It's the accent that's on the radio. That's like neutral British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That New Zealand radio used to have
Yeah.
up until about the 80s or something. was
Yeah,
it?
but even then, I think we still have like a Kiwi version of RP, like the Kiwi default.
Yes,
it's gotten. I think it's gotten better.
Catriona McLeod.
And she speaks like that in real life. Yeah, like when she's not in front of the mic. Like that's how she talks.
Hello, I'm Catriona McLeod. This is the BBC. I mean, Radio New Zealand. I'm in the right place.
But one thing I've got to acknowledge with you, Caitlin, is that you stepped up to guest co-host on your first podcast at about 3 minutes notice.
Good work.
You caught me in the kitchen.
What a trooper.
Yeah. And
What was the situation there?
so I'd lined up another guest co-host, and at very short notice she got caught in a couple of meetings. No.
Okay.
No. Somebody who's not sitting here. And it was with Lani and Anna Gunter. And I'll be the first to admit it was me running a slightly scrappy episode because of it. But I thought you did great. And
thank you.
Every other occasion I'd like to think, this is going to be so much better because I've given you more than 3 minutes notice.
Yeah, I definitely felt more equipped going forward.
Yeah, but then also the one with Emily and Melissa, Emily Grinter from VicLink, Melissa Clark Reynolds, ONZM, our first titled guest of now 2, albeit there's a third one in the wings for next year.
Who's the second one?
Vic Spackman,
Gotcha.
ONZM, but then also Aaron and Katerina. Aaron from 350.org and Katerina from Bicycle Junction, back on 46. Any sort of vague recollections from any of those, or like episodes like, I don't want to be here, wish I was doing anything else?
I remember feeling a little intimidated about Melissa Clark Reynolds.
I was going to say, that must have been fucking terrifying.
She's come and ran a couple of amazing Collider workshops, and when we first got her, and I didn't really know who she was, and her workshop sold out in like 20 minutes. And I remember looking at DK when he was the activation manager here then, and I was like, who is this woman? I was like, oh my goodness. And then, so when you told me that I was going to be somewhat interviewing her or asking her questions, I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I love them all for different reasons, probably different variations of relaxed. Yeah, it's been great.
No, cool. So maybe we might just rock into our first brew of the afternoon
Do
before I
it.
lose my voice.
I was just thinking, is because we're all co-hosts, is there going to be some power struggle where it's like who opens the brew or who doesn't open the brew?
I don't mind.
I think actually, Jen, because you're in the seat, you should probably
I feel like
open
you
it.
have the red microphone.
Yeah.
do have it. Hang on, there's chairs.
Now, you might notice something unusual occurring, which is that there's two of the same. Because, well, there was such good value, I bought two of each. But I've left the other two in the fridge. So if that's all right, I'm not forcing you to drink.
No, that's fine. I'm twisted. So we've got Hawker and Rolls can la. La, what a wonderful word. It has no meaning itself, but emphasises any sentence it's added to. Can la is brewed in collaboration with Hawker and Roll, is the perfect accompaniment to their unique take on Malaysian street food. Clean, crisp, with subtle citrus and tropical fruit notes, it's designed to elevate, not overwhelm. Tag it onto your spicy street food feast and take the experience to a new level. La. La.
I don't think I've ever put la at the end of a sentence to embellish it. La.
It might not be an English one.
It does remind me of like the Labyrinth, where he's like, nothing, tra-la-la. That's the only time I've seen that sentence used.
I must say I only saw The Labyrinth when I was like 22, which I know is like really shocking. Yeah, it just was not part of my childhood.
Oh, I did the opposite. I watched it too young and then got totally freaked out by it. And I was staying at a friend's house and I asked Mum to come pick me up. Yeah, it's the hands, the helping hands. They're so scary.
So it wasn't the Boa's package that was freaking you out.
No, I don't
down.
think. Yeah. Oh, so scary.
So here's the first two poured.
We don't. Oh yeah, that does make sense.
Yep. So here I'll swap.
Kind of looks like wee.
Doesn't all beer kind of a little bit?
But it's foamy.
One of my memories of this year of podcasting is of how we managed to murder most of the beers that we taste. And like how people like Kieran must cry slightly.
Oh, where we're like,
at like our descriptions, and it's like, looks like wee.
it's kind of fizzy. Yeah.
It's drinkable.
It's wet and cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but we do it all with this gravitas as if we know what we're talking about. We're like, yeah.
It's in my mouth and I'm drinking it.
Get your laugh and get around
It's
this.
yummy. I like it already.
Oh, that is nice.
Mm.
Whoa.
Crisp and refreshing.
That's really light.
It's like kind of
Yeah, that's
cidery.
really light. Yeah, it is almost cidery. It's not very like hoppy or complex. It's just delish.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yay, we've finally found a beer for Rebecca.
I don't like the real craft.
I was just totting them up earlier in the day, and it was like, I think we've tasted 46 beers this year. Or should I say, I've tasted 46 beers, and you've tasted a proportion of those.
That's a good effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
now make you a beer connoisseur?
Absolutely not. I was just like, I was looking through them going, how many of these can I actually remember? Don't ask me that question.
Do you have a favourite you discovered this year?
I've still got the favourite from last year,
Which is...
GP's Cabbages and Kings,
Ooh.
which is their sort of oyster stout, like 11.2%. Stands up
wonder
on
you
its
like it.
on its own.
Yeah.
You need like one, lasts me about a weekend. All right, some describing words about Garage Project's Canla.
Like waiting for the barbecue.
Yeah. It's really easy to drink. Like, it's a bit dangerous, I think. What's the percentage?
Like 4.5.
Ah, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I guess what they were saying on the can is true, that it's about elevating other things, whether it's experiences or food, rather than it being the kind of centerpiece. So you might also drink it if you're eating like some spicy noodles or something.
Yeah.
Quite different for Garage Project, eh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's
Might slow down a little bit.
Let
There's
the
plenty
record
of water.
reflect,
Drink some water.
Rebecca's got the glass on her head.
It's a race, eh?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
You're doing so well. Well done.
Also,
Very proud.
let the record reflect it's 10 p.m.
It's definitely an appropriate time. Yeah.
Totally fine. It's after 12. It's after 4. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Do you find that when you go into like a craft beer bar or pretty much any bar in Wellington and you ask to see their wine menu, they just judge you a little bit. I found that
it's there on page 16. So
After all of the beers.
we've got red and white.
yeah,
I haven't had that so much, but I guess like if I was going to get a vibe, it would probably be like, oh, okay, like we prepared all these beers for you, but if you want a wine, that's fine. Except that like Goldings is kind of like that, like a very beer focused place, but they have quite delightful wines on offer, or like it's quite a lovely little one to look through.
Like I went into Fortune Favours, that new bar.
Where's that one?
It's just back from Goldings. Like if you were to
head
the other way.
the old paint
Towards-
strippers, dry strippers.
What do
thing.
you call it? Towards Gusney Street. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't often drink beer, but that's where I've probably done most of my beer drinking because I feel like I should.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, and all their beers are in like lights. Yeah. They call me.
You're a magpie. You're a beer magpie.
The wine was so hard to find. And there was a line.
You went, that one, it's shiny.
Yeah.
We should probably round out with a score on Garage Project's Can La. Final description, or maybe even a comment about the packaging labelling.
Lots of greenery, a little bit kind of retro. Looks like
It's a little bit like on holiday with the flowers.
Yeah, it's like kind of, summery, beachy island time. But then it also says on it, like it looks like it says, like it's got Asian text, and I don't know what particular kind it is because I don't know the different alphabets. But it makes me go like, I feel like this is like I'm imagining drinking it in Vietnam or something. Given that it talks about like streets. Oh no, Malaysian. It's Malaysian. There you go.
yeah, that is what it seems to say.
You know the like the whole idea of movies that go straight to DVD, or as was. This almost feels like this is a beer that's going to go straight to Singapore Airlines. Do you know? Like because they've done collabs with them before,
Oh,
and
have
they're
they?
one of the very first New Zealand craft brewers that actually got onto international routes.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, I wonder how soon it's going to get onto that.
And they probably do need low alcohol beers for up in the sky. 'Cause is there something about how you get drunker when you're
I
further
think
up
so.
there?
Yeah.
So they give you crazy pours. Like I feel like they're doing it on purpose sometimes.
What, they give you like heaps on the sky?
Yeah, they're not stingy. Like
Yeah.
the big international ones. I was
Yeah.
quite shocked.
You've obviously been on the fancy flyers.
Yeah. Maybe in first class.
No, it was my first. So I caught my first proper international flight this year.
Did you?
Where did you go?
I went to Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I ordered whiskey, I think, and they poured me like half a glass. And I think it's because she's like, I don't want to come back in 20 minutes.
This one
Yes,
looks
on
like a
that.
drinker.
Yeah,
she
that
looks,
is a good
She
point.
looks thirsty.
Like it must be really difficult to go up and down that aisle multiple times.
With that trolley.
So they're like, sure, here's heaps. Doesn't matter if you don't drink it all.
Yeah,
And
that's how I
maybe now
felt.
you'll go to sleep.
Yeah, and you
And
won't
leave me
ask
alone.
me for anything else.
Good times. Oh, scores. 4.5 out of 5.
What happened to paper bags?
Oh yeah, paper bags. 4.5 paper bags out of 5.
But is paper bags like a shame thing? Like you're embarrassed to be seen with it? Is
No,
it
I feel like it's that
4.5 shames
I would leave the supermarket with 4.5 bags
of that?
of this.
Nice. Got ya.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
it's
I
a
really like
quantity
it.
thing.
I really like it. I don't know if I could drink a whole can just because I'm not used to beer, but I'm really enjoying it.
Great.
Another score?
How about you, Rebecca?
Yeah, I'm going to go solid 4. It's refreshing and tasty and inoffensive, and I would drink more of it.
Inoffensive is a great positive word.
That's been me with its hops.
The team in the Garage Project office listening to this going,
That's right.
Done.
That's how
Yeah.
we sell it, boys.
yeah. Caitlin,
I'm really digging it. I think I'd say 4.5, and hopefully it's available in all the bars I go to, and then I can order it and not feel like a wine drinker.
Yeah. I also never know what to order in any like craft beer bar in Wellington at all. I'm just always get up there like right to the front of the line, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm that person that's like, oh man. So
Do you ask for a lager?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I say like, what is the thing that's like? I used to say lightest, but then people think that means light out in alcohol, but I just mean like the least hoppy. So sometimes if I'm feeling really blunt, it's like, what's your least tasty beer?
Yeah, I want less flavour. I want more
less
cold
flavour.
crispness.
Exactly. I just want less flavour.
Yeah.
What do you have that's like a pure blonde?
Yeah, exactly. Like a Heineken. They're like, get out.
I do the like, do you have anything fruity? And they're like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, fruity.
Cider?
Yeah, and I'm like, no, not cider. All right, cider. Fine.
Put ice in it.
And a bit of fizzy. Get a shandy.
Yeah.
It's so good. What's your score? What's your score,
I
Dave?
think I'm going to roll a solid 4 as well, in fact. It's David here, rounding out this first part of episode 65, chatting with my 2017 co-hosts Jen, Caitlin and Rebecca in the pod cave at BizDojo Wellington. The second part publishes in a week's time on 30th of December. You can connect with the show on Twitter and Instagram at TwicePodcast and reach me on Twitter at David_Binstead. BizDojo are the first of 2 organisations who support me to deliver this show. They're creating and facilitating communities of talented, interesting and clever humans, pursuing their passions through a burgeoning network of co-work spaces across New Zealand. One of their magic sources is getting the culture right for people to collaborate to do their best work in an inclusive, friendly and respectful environment. With flexible options for small and large teams and contract-free plans to suit any business. Go develop and deliver your purpose over at bizdojo.com. Find show notes and links in your podcast app of choice and via twicepodcast.com, where you'll also find today's episode match from the archives. It's one of Jen's most notable episode guests of the year in episode 44, parts A and B, featuring Marianne Elliott and Murdoch Stevens talking people-powered change and doubling New Zealand's refugee quota, alongside craft beer tasted and rated. It's summer holidays here in the Southern Hemisphere. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is either at the beach, the batch, a Kiwi term to describe holiday homes, or roaming the incredible New Zealand backcountry. Everything closes down for a few weeks until mid-January, and it's from then that our 2018 shows with new and returning guests making positive dents on society will again publish. It frankly blows my mind that you, our listeners in more than 50 countries, lend us your ears. It means a lot. I hope the conversations offer inspiration for developing your own creative endeavours. Show family and friends how they can access this and many other shows on their digital devices by sharing the free gift of podcasting. Start them off by suggesting this show and that they follow, comment and share on Twitter, Instagram and even Facebook at Twice Podcast. Collider Wellington are the second of 2 organisations who support me to deliver this show. If you're in Wellington, build your future better by checking out the Collider Wellington monthly programme of largely free events. Access world-class intelligence, hang with some of the smartest people on earth and learn something new. Their goal is to connect thought leaders, emerging entrepreneurs and inspirational experts to support the growth of the greatest little city on earth, Wellington, New Zealand. For all the details, go to Collider Wellington, which is colliderwgtn.com. Links to them and also to BizDojo are right in the show notes. It's been an amazing second year of chatting with inspiring innovators, creatives and enterprises, and also the senior politicians and social enterprise World Forum experts. Thanks again to the many people who've contributed to this Love Not Money project, either in the foreground or the background. I especially want to mention the following. Our Phyllis intern Alana, my guest and regular co-hosts Caitlin, Jen, Jack and Rebecca, George and the team at Garage Project, Nick Shearing, co-founder of BizDojo and his amazing team, Jamie, Philippa and Michelle from Wellington City Council and Wellington Regional Economic Development Agency, respectively. All our guests for giving time and insight and for showing their vulnerable sides alongside learns, lessons and laughs. Finally, I want to thank you, our listeners, for lending us your ears. It means a lot. Beyond here lie pagan and other more recent seasonal celebrations, and also highlights and outtakes that didn't make the main episode cut. Enjoy. What's getting on your nerves?
The sun.
Ah, yes.
You are very light-skinned, aren't you?
Yep, I got sunburnt walking home from the bus at 5:30 the other week.
Oh my God. I love the warmth. I don't love sweating through the night. That part's least fun. But like, I've got a great number of windows in my apartment. I've been opening them all up, opening the doors, just hanging out, and it's been very pleasant. I'm living in shorts right now.
Yeah. It's nice.
Oh, good.
It's amazing how the dress standard of BizDojo, not that we have a dress standard, but it just immediately, I think everyone's like, finally.
Just like summer dresses.
Yeah, no shoes. Yeah.
What are we thinking about today?
What are we thinking about?
Yeah.
To-do lists. I am. It's fun.
Yeah. More than a one-pager?
Right now I'm doing the thing where I'm finding all the to-do lists that I've written recently and collating them into a single to-do list so that I don't miss things.
Because that's my feel really good and productive and kind of like, cleaning out your brain a little bit.
It tricks you into thinking you're getting stuff done.
Yeah, but you're actually not taking anything off it.
Except
But
that
it's still good.
I do get to go back to old lists and go, oh, I did do that thing. Or, it doesn't matter that I didn't do that thing. The time has passed.
That is a good feeling.
It's a really great one.
I thought that this week was going to be really busy because we've got this big conference that we're catering, but I just had a couple of hours to do like some Christmas shopping, which I didn't think I'd get to do until right a minute before. So that was quite rad. The only thing that I don't have anything for, only person that I don't have anything for is my sister, but I've actually been doing some weaving, like making those tapestries for the walls.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm nearly finished one, so I was like, I'll just give her that. Because with the Christmas presents, I try not to give too much stuff or like buy too much, so it makes it even more complicated because it's like, although for my other sister I bought a Shut Up and Dance gift voucher.
It's such a cool gift.
Yeah, because we always
great.
love to dance to Beyonce together. So I was like,
nice.
part of the present is I'm going to come out to friggin' Petone, or she lives out that way, and do that class with her. So
Oh, that's lovely. I've noticed there is a big shift in people giving kind of more meaningful gifts, like gifts that they've made, or like there's a box down there of, it's such a weird thing, it's environmental toilet paper, and it's called Smartass. And
There's just a box of it?
yeah, and so Nichols, our community manager, has bought a huge box of them, like 40 of them, and they're all like individually wrapped with this like real funky
I've
wrapping.
seen those. Yeah,
one's
pretty.
actually sitting on Kate's desk, and everyone's like, "Why do you have toilet paper on your desk?"
Because I'm a smart
Yeah, and it's a cool gift apparently. And her
Here's toilet paper.
Yeah.
Everyone always needs it, is the thing, I guess. So.
And it's like bamboo and good for
And I guess there's that viral thing where people have it and they'll be like, oh yeah, this is great, and then maybe they'd start buying it themselves.
Yeah. It's a marketing ploy, but it's a good one. Yeah, it's a good marketing ploy.
Yeah.
Yeah.